Right, are we all here?
I think we might be missing one or two, but I think we need to...
Yes, crack on with it. Right. Let's push... Which button is it? Hello everyone and welcome to Front End Chatter, Britain's best biking podcast, brought to your lovely ears before our hand-picked paying audience of FECers, live from the Front End Chatter Highland Flings. Yes, folks, today Front End Chatter is emanating not from our usual home of chatter manners deep in the flatlands of Lincolnshire, but from the exceedingly hospitable coziness of the Altguish Inn, slap bang in the middle of the Scottish Highlands. And just to prove, again, this is a real tour, organised by the Papa Smurf of the motorcycle tour companies, Paul MCI Tours, with real FECers, not one of those fake tours, spending 3 days riding insanely gorgeous routes around the west coast, the north coast and the Cairngorms. Let's hear it again. Now, the Altguish Inn was originally a stopping place for cattle drovers going to market between Ullapool and Garve. And the name Altguish is in fact an old Gaelic compound word meaning literally old, alt, and guish meaning cow dung or bullshit. Both of which are entirely appropriate for describing him, Martin Fitzgibbons.
And him, Simon Hargreaves.
But definitely not appropriate at all for Lord Bennett's, Britain's finest bike insurers. Proud, although maybe not so proud anymore. Sponsors and supporters of not only this podcast, but also bikesocial.co.uk for all your news, views and new bike reviews and a bewildering panoply of platforms, including but not limited to bikeclub.bennetts.co.uk, the bike forum to meet like-minded riders, discuss the burning topics of the day and find answers to questions before you have them. Or Talking Heads, the return of the rival Bennett's podcast, now also a vodcast, which interviews the motorcycle industry's greatest movers and shakers you've never heard of. Which you can find alongside a raft of video content, such as road tests and product reviews, all on the Bennett's YouTube channel. Thank you very much, Lord Bennett.
Thank them very much.
Right, okay, so while we've been out here, riding around the Highlands in this gorgeous weather, this amazing sunshine, what's been happening in the world of motorcycling?
Loads of stuff, Si. Loads of stuff has been going on in motorcycling, so much that I can't remember any of it.
Right, okay. Shall I give you a hand?
Please.
Some new BMWs have emerged?
Have they now? These would be the R1300 RT and the R1300 RS.
Now, there's a surprise. We didn't expect those,
as
did we?
Predictable as sunshine in... No, it's not as predictable as sunshine in Scotland. R1300 RT RS. Are we interested? Do we like the looks?
I found out something today that I didn't know by somebody who'd actually read about these bikes.
Right.
Who was it? Put the hand. It was Claire, wasn't it? Who pointed out that the RT has heated handlebar, what do you call them? Pillion grab rails. Yeah.
Ooh.
And a heated backrest.
Is that a world first?
Did you look up how much that was going to cost?
No.
£740 probably.
Pressure's on, Jerry.
So pretty straightforward, I guess. The 1300 engine from the GS and in a new frame.
Yep.
Want to bet it's the same frame?
Probably the same frame.
Probably a longer swing arm.
Probably a longer swing arm.
I wonder if it'll come with panniers, do you reckon? Or do you think they'll not be ready yet?
Ooh, topical. We haven't had any RTs on any FEC tours ever, I don't think. But we have had a lot of RSs. Now, as our resident 1200 or 1250? 1250 RS. 1200 with the red frame. RS rider. Gav, what do you think to an R1300 RS? Tell us your thoughts. Will you be dashing back to trade it in for the CGI chat GPT generated R1300 RS?
I don't have the cash for that.
You don't have the cash for it? Okay. What about in 7 years' time when it will make a lovely used bike?
Yeah, possibly, because that's how I bought my 1200. So.
There we go. See, you've got to keep these treadmills going, haven't you?
Yeah, that's it.
Are there any of the new features that would sort of you make you think, you know what, I'd really like that? I mean, what's it going to be? It's going to be lighter. The engine's lighter. The engine's got more power. It's a bigger engine. It's a sweeter steering chassis, everybody says.
I think it's power, it's more torque, it's refinement. Because when I bought mine, the option they give to me was a demo bike. I tried the 1250. and then bought the 1200. But I could see that 1250 was just that much smoother. And
did it feel like a better bike, the 1250?
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. What about the fact that they're sportifying it? Because they do talk about they don't use the word sportify, do they? But it's a more sporty riding position, a more aggressive.
Well, that's not good because first thing I did was put bar risers on. So.
Oh, good point.
Yeah, there you go. You see. Yeah.
Maybe what about heated bar risers? Can we compromise? Okay. All right, so a bit concerned that the RS might be going in the wrong direction. We do like the heated pillion grab handles on the RT.
It's a fascinating observation about the RT that we've not had one. That was, once upon a time, that was like the default tourer.
For years.
If you came
and
up
years.
to Scotland, you'd be on either an RT or a pan-European.
For sure.
Neither of them have appeared on our tours.
No, never ever.
Right, that's me done. What have we been up to?
We have been up to, we've been up to Tongue.
Well, 3 figures, apparently. Some people say.
And the rest, yeah. We have done the best bits of Scotland, didn't we? I know when we did the FEC800 all those years ago, we said that they were the best bits of Scotland.
When who did the FEC800?
When many of us completed the FEC800 all those years ago, we said they were the best bits of Scotland. And then when we did the Highland Fling, we said, no. These are the best bits of Scotland.
Actually, that first one, we were
So
selling you
how
a
do you
dummy.
defend thyself, Simon? Did we lie then? Are we lying now? Those who did the FEC800 and Highland Fling, which was the best bits of Scotland? We have a microphone, by the way, for you lovely feckers who can contribute. You can have your vocal cords put down in infamy. Someone who did FEC800 and has been here, come and grab a microphone and tell us what you think.
We've got the lovely Anthea, or Leone as she's known, to manhandle the lovely Anthea.
We need a definitive answer. Is this the best of Scotland, or was that the best of Scotland? Come on, someone be brave. There we are, Phaser John.
I would say, from my point of view, they were both great, but the FEC800, it was more days. So we got more out of it, didn't we?
There was more days.
Yeah,
Can't
there was only
argue
3
that.
days here.
More days for some of us.
Yeah, yes. Yeah. And give me a break. Oh, no, that was you, wasn't it? Yeah, if we have got a complaint about this particular one, it's been really good. However...
Here we go,
Oh,
straight
right.
into it.
Go on, let us have it.
It did rain on day one. And I'm
that's
a
true.
little disappointed with that. I know
Yeah.
the last 2 days have been very good, but you could have sorted something out on day one. That would have been even
Well,
better.
we value your feedback. Thank you very much for that. We will be taking that forward
We'll be taking that upstairs.
with the big man. Do we mean Mr. Bennett?
We do,
Or
yeah.
does he go even higher than that?
It doesn't get any higher than Lord Bennett. Good. Okay. Well, look. In the absence of motorcycling news, should we?
That is
should
it,
we, should we-
yeah.
that's pretty much it. Should we turn to the FECers at large? Because I think we have some questions lined up. If the lovely Leone Anthea can.
A real-time live FECsack.
Oh God, is one that we haven't prepared for. So this is
It's off to a good start.
good start. Go on then, Jared.
Anyone know how much it costs for a new front light on a Triumph Street 77765 RS?
Oh, I'm sure it's very reasonably priced.
I think because you've filmed it, it won't cost you anything. That's the idea.
Yeah.
It's good to reverse into the camera.
Right. Any real questions?
We've got a question from Phaser John.
Phaser John.
Yeah, this is... I don't want to get too down and that, but given the likes of Cove and Vogue, their bikes are really coming on now. So maybe not this generation, but the next generation are going to be so good. Is this likely to spell the death knell for the premium European manufacturers like Ducati and BMW?
Ooh, interesting. So yeah, Chinese bikes. We've got CF Moto, we've got Vogue, we've got Cove. Morbidelli seem to be making some noises recently. There's Marini. There's all sorts. Does anyone here own a Chinese-made motorbike? Nobody.
Anybody giving it consideration?
Nobody.
Okay.
Lots of no. Oh, we got a maybe. We got a maybe, and we got a hands up.
Okay, so is there an actual resistance, or has it just not come across your radar yet? No?
I think there's lots of concerns with Chinese bikes. I think there's that the bikes aren't good enough to ride. I think there's the reliability perception. I think there's the cool factor, and
I think that's the one.
the sort of the sense of self.
Yeah,
if I
well-
buy a Ducati or
Well,
a
no, because
BMW or a Triumph,
the bike you ride is you're promoting your own self-image to other people. And so if you're riding a Chinese bike, what does that actually say? Because a bike says something about you when you ride it.
For sure.
So there is that.
Mostly, get off the rear brake,
Yeah.
mate. That's what it says most.
Thank you. Maybe that's a new technology they can come up with.
Do I think it's going to decimate the existing manufacturers? No, not in so much as the kind of big capacity premium bikes. I think when you look at all the bikes that we've got lined up here, 20 odd bikes, and the vast majority are European, aren't they? And they're kind of fairly prestige premium models. I think we're still a little bit of a way off manufacturers like Cove and Vosges building bikes of that standard, of that technology level, and more importantly, of that sort of appeal, of that perception of premium quality. I think they're going to do crazy business in the sort of middleweight stuff pretty quickly. Certainly 450s and 650s, maybe 800s, but I think they're a little way off really desirable sort of 1200s. And
There's that kind of cliche that people say that they are going to do to the Japanese what the Japanese did to the British bike industry, because they can innovate quicker, they can adapt quicker, and so they'll be bringing out bikes that are cheaper than Japanese bikes with more gadgets and more stuff. I mean, if you think about which one is it? Is it the Vosges that comes with the front and rear cameras and
I think the
radar and all that kind of stuff? So I think that'll be it. Yeah, I think the Japanese should be worried. And I think that's part of the reason why Honda have started coming in with really aggressive prices to sort of meet that sort of threat head on.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the other manufacturers have been sort of caught napping a little bit because they haven't responded. But I think gadgets is where it's really going to be at. Because I think the kind of people that are going to be buying those bikes are coming into the market will be expecting that level of equipment. But I agree. I think premium European brands, I don't think there's enough. It's like the next step. I think once they've done the sort of the cheap middleweight stuff, that's when they're going to go for the premium stuff. But I think petrol will have run out by then. So,
Wow. Facer John started off with that, I don't want to be on a downer, and you managed to even go below Facer John's downer.
Hang on, but it's not a downer for you, is it? You're going, oh, great.
Yeah,
no more
brilliant,
petrol,
bring it on.
Fantastic.
China will absolutely kill it when it comes to electric bikes. Yeah, I'm all for that.
You had a second question as well.
Yeah, but just on that point, I was just going to say that I mentioned that Honda pricing the Hornet at 9,000 is amazing. I had a quick look back through all of the receipts I've got for all the bikes I've bought over the years. And 29 years ago, in 1996, I bought a brand new Fireblade, and it was 9,500 quid.
Wow.
And that's 29 years ago. So
crazy.
just imagine what a bargain it is today. Yeah, it's great time to actually buy a motorbike. Pamela, so one more won't hurt, will it?
I see. That's a very clever bit of justification there. I like that. Yeah.
You had a second question as well.
Yeah, I
didn't
do
you?
have a second one. Yeah, okay, let me just have a quick look. Right, we all love him. Donald Trump, such a great chap. But there is a little bit of a question mark over some of his tariffs. I know people, I come from the motor industry, from the car sector. I know people who still work in the car sector, and the tariffs are really, really hurting them because a lot of people are not buying because there's so much engineering that's shared across countries and across borders and that sort of thing. And I'm just wondering, is that likely to affect motorcycle manufacturers as well? I don't know how many Ducatis or BMWs are sold into America, but, is that likely to cause a stir for them as well?
It's a good question. These are the best tariffs that have ever been. That's what I heard. They are the best tariffs. Everyone loves them.
We
also have to maybe moderate our opinion a little bit because we do have some Americanists in the room. And I hear they sometimes have firearms. So we might need to watch what we say, otherwise they're going to bust a cap in your ass.
How did they get them into this country?
I don't know, probably in their ass.
There's a tariff. Is there a tariff on firearms? I don't know. Trump doesn't even know what he's doing, so and the economists can't work out what he's doing, so can we? I've got no idea.
I think the funny thing about a tariff, right, isn't the primary purpose of a tariff is to stop you buying a foreign-made product and instead buy the same thing from a domestic manufacturer. Mm-hmm. And that works absolutely brilliantly when you've got domestic manufacturers also making rival products.
The stuff that people want.
So it's a perfectly logical thing. If you overprice or add the cost to a BMW 1300 GS, Someone will naturally go and buy a Street Glide instead, won't they?
Yeah, which is a perfect solution
Makes
for
perfect sense.
for Harley. Yes, they're definitely going to do that. I don't know. I don't know how many bikes the European manufacturers sell into America either, but I suspect that I think it's bluster, and I think there'll be an initial shock, and then Trump will roll back on everything. There won't be tariffs on an awful lot, and I don't think in the end of it there'll be an awful lot of difference. I think it will work out because he'll backtrack because it's a political tool, not an actual economic tool, I think. But I don't know.
The word tool does spring to mind.
Yeah.
I do know how many bikes Ducati and BMW sell into America.
I knew you would.
Have a guess. In percentage terms, how many of BMW and Ducati's
How much of their business?
annual sales goes to America?
Is it the same for both of them?
It's within a few percent, yeah.
15%.
Any higher or lower on 15%, anyone? Dave says higher. Dave says it's more. Jared says it's lower. Ooh. Oh, George says it's really high. What do you reckon? Pick up a mic. Tell us what you think.
20%?
20%. Oh, any higher than 20%? Dave's going even higher than that. In 2024, BMW sold 8% of their bikes in America.
Ooh.
Ducati was about 12%. Ooh. So if it's a small effect, well, whatever the effect, on 8% or 12% of your annual sales, I don't think it's going to sort of send BMW or Ducati to the bin overnight.
Spiralling into
Following in KTM
failure.
slipstream.
No. That's fewer than I thought, obviously. Yeah. That's half what I thought.
Yeah, Europe, biggest market for both of them still.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So, there, John. No
So
effect
there we
at all.
are. Motorcycling will be immune from the Trump.
Fuck 'em.
Wow.
Brilliant. There's one more thing, John, you mentioned. It says here, don't forget... I'm not going to say it. You're going to have to say it. Don't forget to ask about Pamela's...
All right, yeah.
And you have to explain where this comes from. What's the background context for this?
When we had the last FEC borders, yeah? Yes, say yes.
Yes,
That's right. And Pamela was saying that she's got she's now got a Honda Rebel 500, and it's great and everything. But after about 40 minutes in the saddle, she has a bit of a problem with her lady bits. They start to go, well, you know.
We remember. We were introduced to Pamela's
anyway,
lady
so,
bits.
You
Yeah.
can stop it, she's got a problem.
That's
Yeah.
right. So she was asking, knowing Simon is the man to ask about this sort of thing. Purely because
That's what
you
the
spend a lot.
graffiti in the toilet says, anyway.
No, you know, yeah, spends a lot of time in the saddle and all that. Like, so we asked for your recommendations, and you did recommend somebody. Who was it?
Alistair Else from Elsemaid, somewhere in East Anglia,
Wisbech.
near Kings Lynn.
Wisbech. Yeah.
Wisbech. So I took the saddle over in one cold January day, and he took it apart and put some special memory foam, I think it was, in it. And it has made quite an amazing difference. I had tried, thank you, Leonie, I had tried doubling up on my cycling shorts, and I'm sure my bottom was becoming desensitised. But having this new saddle has made a massive difference, and I've managed to do 100 miles in a day and survived.
Hey, fantastic. That's brilliant. So between some actual advice from Simon and some far more useful advice from Leonie, we've kind of cracked the problem, haven't we? That might be the first problem we've ever solved on Front End
actually
Chatter.
solved something.
11 years and we've almost solved a problem.
Fantastic.
I
Brilliant.
feel really proud.
Yeah. We can pack up and go home now. Right, we've got another question here.
Hello, Michael.
Speak, Michael.
Right. So, there's been lots of talk about the future of motorcycling, electric, petrol. But if motorcycles had to be powered by something other than petrol or electricity, say cheese or bad news, or maybe 1990s Eurodance, what would you pick and why?
All right, interesting. So we've got to try and find something that there's an abundance of and that we would be quite happy to put into a bike. See, I'm not so keen on the cheese-powered motorbike because I like cheese and I want to be a cheese-powered human. So I don't want a cheese-powered motorbike.
Well, living out in the fens, I think a peat-powered motorbike would be quite good.
Pete?
Yeah.
What, a man called Pete?
No.
Or the actual...
No, the
Too much carbon in it.
Yeah, there is. There's a lot.
Will it give off too much methane? Well, actually, does it give off methane when you burn peat? Is that how it works?
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know either. No, probably not. It's carbon, is it? Right, okay. So you didn't stipulate it had to be clean, did you? No. Right, okay. You can have pizza if you want. Porn? Speaking of
porn, I am led to believe there is an infinite supply.
There is definitely a lot of that, yes.
So it's okay to put some in the bike and there still be enough left for everyone else.
I'm just thinking this gives me an excellent opportunity to use a picture in the thumbnail.
What, of just some gratuitous smut?
Some porn, yes. Good.
Yeah.
I don't know, what else?
Can
what
you
do you think?
what can you feed online porn into it? Because much like motorcycle magazines, the pornographic magazine business has been really badly hit. And a bunch of ex-pornographic magazine journalists have now had to create a podcast.
Right, okay.
That is how far things have fallen for them. They stand up in front of other people, prostrating themselves in exchange for money. It's disgusting. It's a shameful business.
It is filth, pure filth.
Absolute filth. I would use... what do you want to just sort of get rid of? Rudeness, smugness... impolite. Oh, racism. I'd like a motorbike powered by racism.
I'm not sure that is the right kind of message. Really.
Is it not?
It doesn't sound right somehow. I suppose
it's kind of finding a more usable home for it.
You'd be using it up and burning it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it sounds like you need lots of it. To
Oh, there's plenty of it, especially in Lincolnshire. We're good for it.
It is,
You wouldn't be welcome wherever you went.
You wouldn't be welcome wherever you went. Wouldn't be welcome wherever you went. What colours would the bike be available in?
What about you, Michael? What do you think? What would you like to power a bike on?
You need to grab the microphone. Give Mike the mic.
There we go. I'd stick to bad news because I think it was Douglas Adams who said that bad news travelled faster than anything else in the entire universe.
Oh, that's a proper answer, that is.
Yeah,
That's a proper good answer.
Yeah.
Excellent stuff.
Nice
right.
one.
Thank you very much.
Next cue, anybody?
Gaza.
Gaz.
Given KTM's circumstances, are they ever going to come back without a bad image, no matter what happens?
Oof. Good question. What is the latest on KTM as we sit here now?
Stefan Pierre is being sued by the boss of Remus, an aftermarket parts company, who lent him 50 million euros.
As you do.
As you do. But now claims that it was lent under false pretenses and wants it back.
He said he wanted to buy a yacht?
Yes, and so Pierre is countersuing him, presumably, because that's how these things work. Oh, mate, I don't know. You see these numbers and 1.2 billion?
They lost €1 billion last year.
Yeah.
$1 billion.
I think they're going through the death throes.
Do you?
Yeah, I do.
So you think they cannot come back under any circumstances?
I think the KTM name will be bought by somebody, and it's either going to be CF Moto or it's going to be Bajaj, and the bikes will be manufactured.
Grab the mic.
Mic.
But will anyone still want to buy a KTM, even if someone else buys them now?
It's a good question. I think right now it feels bad, right? But you've got to think of what are the other examples of motorcycling brands who've moved through different owners and still retained a good image. And the first one that springs to mind for me is Ducati. Ducati had a reputation for poor reliability. They had a reputation for I think they probably lost a bunch of money and they were bought between their original owners and Texas Pacific, and they were Cagiva, and then they were Ducati, and then there was something else, and then now they're Audi owned. I think Ducati's reputation is still pretty top notch. They maybe are not in the same situation as KTM, and I realise I'm sort of pushing the analogy. Do I think they could come back? Yes, absolutely. I think they could. I think it feels really raw and really immediate, and it's kind of all bad news for probably the past 12 months. I don't think there's been any good news story out of KTM for at least a year.
No.
So it does feel pretty bad, but.
I think motorcyclists have a fairly short memory, and I think they'll forgive KTM if a brand buys them and starts making sort of small bore KTMs to a younger audience, which that will work. I think for maybe the leisure motorcycling market there might be a bit more resistance, but if people are aware that it's a completely different product, then I don't know, at the right price. I can see CF Moto wanting it as a prestige premium European brand to stick on. Well, they're already making KTMs, aren't they? So yeah, I think it could come back. You were could go back further. We could go back to Honda.
Okay.
Honda had an appalling reputation for reliability and for inferior quality components, which in the early 80s? Yeah.
With the camshafts, funnily enough.
Yes, exactly. And they rebuilt their reputation. So yeah, I think it can be done. What do you think? Do you think? I mean, can you see a circumstance under which you'd buy a KTM or a KTM badged bike?
No.
Right. Okay.
No.
But then, would you have done anyway?
No. Yeah, but Honda came back from bad cams. They didn't come back from bad finances like Norton. No one's buying Nortons, are they?
Interesting.
That's a good point. Yet.
Interesting.
But we'll see if Moto rebrand it and make it completely, no more V-twins, or have they got to change it completely?
Yeah. I think the thing about KTM is it's the biggest motorcycle manufacturer in Europe. They do everything, don't they? I mean, just about the only thing they don't do is scooters, right? But otherwise, they do all the different types of dirt bike. They do 125s, they do 390s, they do 250s in other markets, nakeds, adventure bikes, sports bikes, all the way up to 1400 V-twins. They do a lot of stuff. There's a lot of people who buy them. Was it like 250,000 people bought a KTM last year around the world? Mm-hmm. That's an awful lot of people. And so, yes, a lot of us, maybe more of us who don't buy KTMs, think that their reputation's in tatters. But there's a lot of passion for that brand. So I think it just requires, it will require a big reset. It will require a lot of money. It will require a lot of time of not messing up. It will require a lot of time of treating the dealers right, of treating the customers right. But it's absolutely possible to come back from it, I think.
I agree.
I've got one for you. If KTM disappear with an audible pop, who would you two like to see scoop in and buy them out and make KTMs again?
That's a good one.
So I guess the obvious answers are that Bajaj or CF Moto or someone will come in and sweep up the parts because they already have business relationships. But that's a boring answer, isn't it? I want Stuart Garner to come in and...
Oh, yeah.
Because, you'd get a really well-made bike. You'd get a free pension with it. No, who, in all seriousness, KTM... The thing about KTM is they had both sort of a branding level, a personality level, and a dynamic level. They had a sort of level of aggression and spunkiness that almost no other manufacturer was doing. So you kind of need to bring someone in who's got a similar level of feistiness, don't you? Because you can't imagine Royal Enfield have picked him up, and I don't know, it just sort of wouldn't be the
work,
same
would
thing,
it?
would
No. What you need is a sort of a management buyout, led by Jeremy McWilliams.
Oh, yeah, I like that.
Yeah. That's what we need. Yeah, so that's what I'd go for. I think Jezza at the top of a company making KTMs. They'd still be unrideable. Not completely unrideable. They'd be, the sporty ones would be hard and nasty and very Jeremy.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Yeah, but you're right. If anybody else bought them, it wouldn't quite make sense, would it? No. What about, Dyson? What about Richard Branson?
Oh, goodness me, you're
KTM
making this
Virgin.
very unappealing.
KTM Virgin? That'd be quite cool.
In what way would that be cool?
I don't know. Is Branson still... No, right, maybe not. What about Jeff Bezos? He could buy them.
Yeah, Musk. Get Musk in. He could be the M in Musk, in KTM.
Katie Musk.
Katie Musk.
Oh dear, is that one of his many children?
Yeah, I think that would be great. Yeah, there's no better answer than McWilliams with a load of money behind him. That'd be great. That'd be really good.
Stuart, we've got a question from Stuart.
Hiya, guys. So, just a quick question to bring it back to our tour, since we've been out doing wonderful roads on wonderful bikes for the last few days. So, the question is, you only have one road to ride for the rest of your lives, and one bike to do it on. What road is it? What bike is it?
For the rest of your life.
What, like on a loop? Just sort of.
Yeah. We're going to lock you in here at
for
the end
all
of tonight,
eternity,
and that's it.
Or just until the end of your life. So if you pick a really dangerous road,
I wouldn't take that. Yeah.
There's one near Fort William. Lovely waterfall at the end of it. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Sorry, I was like, where? Oh, that one. Yeah. No.
That's a good question.
For me, we've ridden it this afternoon.
Did we?
Yes, the A87.
Okay. Which runs from where to where?
It runs from Invergary to Uig on the Isle of Skye. It's 100 miles exactly.
Is it?
Yes, and it's got the best combination of flowing corners. It's got the most beautiful... I'll tell you what it reminds me of. It reminds me of, do you remember the original Gran Turismo video game?
Yeah.
And you'd sit there playing it, and your little car would be there, and then the mountains in the background would kind of do this.
And they kind of
across the
scroll
screen.
around, yeah.
It does that when you're riding. You just sit in the corners one after another. Big, flat, open corners. There's no nasty camber. They're quite easy to read. The scenery's amazing. The riding's amazing. So for me, it's the A87 every time. I could ride that. In fact, I have actually thought, going dark again, if I when I die and go to heaven, if there is a heaven, I just want to be riding the A87 in perpetuity.
Do you think it's sheer random chance that A87 and Simon Hargreaves' Heaven both rhyme?
Yeah. No.
No, it's not, is it? There's got to be something more exciting than Blum in Scotland, isn't there? There's got to be some other roads you've ridden around the world that's better than Blum in Scotland. No, there isn't. No. Scotland is the best riding in the world.
Yeah, it is. It needs to have a sort of an emotional connection as well.
I'm with you.
So we've ridden some amazing roads, like in the Picos, like on FECspania, in the Pyrenees. There were some blinding roads, but they haven't got an emotional connection to them. They're just brilliant for what they are. If you lived there, I'm sure they'd be great.
I'm with you. I was trying to think of really exciting roads that I've ridden in Europe. There's a mad one right in the south of Spain, the A397 or 79.
Oh, that
runs
one.
Up from Malaga. No, not Malaga. What's right down on the coast? Up to Ronda. The Ronda Road.
The Ronda
Do you know
Road.
the one?
Yeah, I know
French
the Ronda Road. Yeah.
It's really long, goes up into the hills, bend. There's no junctions, there's no interruptions. It's absolutely bonkers. I rode it in 2008 or 9 on a Hayabusa and a ZZR 1400.
Yeah.
And had a wild old day, and then did a few launches on it, Z1000s and Z1000
That was
SXs.
before they put the speed cameras on it, wasn't it?
Oh, there's speed cameras on it
There are,
now?
yes.
Well, that's ruined that.
That's
so
ruined
I'm not
it
doing
for
that
me,
anymore.
so I'm not doing that.
So then I came back to what you were saying, which is that it's got to have an emotional connection. It's got to be something that just makes you feel a bit fuzzy and warm as soon as you get on it. But it also needs to have the length. And we all
As
know
they say.
it needs to have the length. Because if you're going to ride one road for the rest of your life, it's got to have a bit of variety. You get bored after a while, wouldn't you, if it's only 4 miles long?
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I'm going Scotland as well.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Well, can I have two? Can I have two? That
You're going for the A87?
I want the A939 through Tomintoul, but then the bit that carries on south on the 93, the A93, all the way down to the Spit of Glenshee, is it?
Yeah.
That's about 100 miles long as well. And that's got everything. It's got mad scenery, it's got fast corners, it's got lumpy, jumpy stuff down the bottom. And we had a bit of a good ride on that, on the FEC800, didn't we?
And it has an emotional connection.
Does it?
Yeah.
Do I have emotions?
Yeah, go on. It does have an emotional connection.
How am I emotionally connected
because the
to it?
Cairngorms is a place that has a special meaning for you.
Yeah.
You can leave it there?
Yeah.
All right, okay, fair enough.
No, that's pretty cool. I think I would like that. And also, if it's 100 miles long, did you ask also what bike and what road? Okay, so if it's 100 miles long, then I can pick an electric bike.
Oh, fuck off.
Wow.
Well, you can, but you're not.
I didn't realise I'd get booed out of the... Here I am, trying to save the planet for all of our futures.
Read the room.
Oh, I'd have a turbo GSXR 1100. No,
From the 90s.
I would. If you say I can have one bike for the rest of the time, it would be an electric bike. I don't know what. That's the slight catch, is that nobody's yet built that
Okay,
bike.
why?
Because I could, if I was forced to, I could wave goodbye to petrol.
I could save the planet.
No, I could make my peace with it and say goodbye, and that would be the end of that.
And you'd want to do
And
that?
for the rest of the time, yeah, I think so.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's awful.
But
I'm never doing a podcast with you again.
Ever again. You can't.
terrible.
No, that's prejudiced. You can't hate on someone for their values and their opinions.
Well, you can.
Oh, you can. Yeah. Right. Fair enough. And you have, and so is everyone else in the room. Yeah. What would you pick for your A87 ride? It would run on children and it would just feed
the blood of
infants straight into the fuel tank. Yeah.
RC45.
Oh, there we go. That's got the back on side, hasn't it? RC45.
1990s, got round headlights and all that. Yeah, RC45. If in that kind of like dream scenario, that's what it would be. I think just the sound of the engine and the feel of the thing, and that would be it.
Blimey.
That would be it.
Stuart, what about you? Seeing as you've asked the question, you must have thought about the answer yourself.
Not particularly. No. I think I would probably go with Austria into northern Italy, so something along the lines of maybe the Stelvio.
Okay.
What?
On a Moto Guzzi Stelvio?
No.
No.
Again, if I've only got one bike to do it on, it can't be going very far. You guys know me, it's got to have a CP4 motor in it. Oh, yeah. Given if I'm going up and down the hills, I'm not going to be choosing an R1, it would be your most hated MT10.
The MT10?
Yeah.
Very good choice.
Oh, dear. Well, definitely better than an electric bike anyway, so well those two. We added to your question, actually. What about track? You had one track.
Ooh. What, one track you can ride for the rest of
your
time?
life.
Are you going to count the Isle of Man as this, as a track?
I wasn't.
No. It's a bit dangerous,
But it's a good shout.
I mean, for the rest of your life really wouldn't last long if you said that. Oh, what's wrong with Cadwell? Is there a better racetrack in the world than Cadwell?
Yeah, Anglesey.
Anglesey?
Yeah.
I'm not sure about that, mate.
Just because it's further away.
Yeah, but, you know.
What anyone else? Favourite track? Stu, you
Yeah, Cadwell.
fuck
yeah.
Fair enough.
Or in the interests of reaching out an olive branch to our transatlantic cousins, Laguna Seca.
Ooh, okay.
Donington.
That's hell, isn't it? The Melbourne Loop, repeated over and over again.
People wake up in a cold sweat. Oh, God.
Right, we need to crack on because we got
Right.
dinner
Have
to
we got
eat.
any more questions
Yes,
that
we
we
have
haven't
a
got
question
to?
from Steve.
Oh, Steve.
Microphone to Steve, please. It says here, Steve might not actually be back from today's ride yet.
He is.
So his question will be voiced by an actor. So here is Steve acting the part of Steve.
We had a chat in the van on the way up. One of the topics was two-strokes, Scott's favourite two-stroke. And a lot of people, and during this conversation, somebody back here, a lot of misty-eyedness about two-strokes. So for those of us who came to biking late, or for, if there are any, younger viewers, can you just explain the iconography, what made them so special? Was it the skill level required? Was it the noise? Was it the fact they were around when you guys grew up with bikes?
The smell as well.
The smell.
I've got that down, yeah.
So can you just go through that, and then each of you choose your favourite, what you'd have given to keep.
Two strokes.
Okay. Well, as you're saying, we had them when we were young. The stuff we had when we were young, plus time, equals nostalgia.
Warm, fuzzy memories.
So that helps. They were unique. They don't feel like four strokes do now. You can't get them now, so there is the scarcity value. And so, yeah, it is all about memories, isn't it? And there's so many. First ride on a BSA Bantam when you didn't have to pedal. I mean, that is an amazing revelation when you first open a throttle and don't have to put any effort in. So that was a cool thing. Crashing TS50s everywhere. That was good. RD125s, crashing them everywhere. First wheelie on the back of a 350LC. These are all two-stroke memories.
Okay.
KO1S, having a tank slapper so fierce that it bent the front mudguard, bent the fork brace. And that was before joining PB and getting to ride RD500LCs and Gammas and all the rest of it. And...
Gammons?
Gammons, yeah, RG500 Gammons. And Danny Pedrosa's 2004 title-winning NSR 250.
Oh, did you?
But by then...
How did you fit on a bike built for Danny Pedrosa?
Exactly.
Did you have two of them and wear them like roller skates?
By then, I had jumped the shark.
In what sense?
In the sense that I'd kind of got over two strokes by then.
Okay.
And you kind of realised that maybe they weren't as good now for you at the age you are and the size you were.
Yeah.
And then after that, I rode with somebody. Didn't I ride an RS125 all the way across Spain? Or was it a 50? I can't remember. It was a 125,
we
wasn't it?
took a Aprilia RS125 and a Honda CBR125 and we rode them almost the entire length and breadth of Spain to go to Jerez in 2008. And yes, one of them was a two-stroke.
It was fucking awful.
It was horrible.
It was horrible. And I think that was the last two-stroke I ever rode.
Really?
Pretty much, yeah.
Ooh.
And I never want to ride one again.
So what was the first year you rode a two-stroke?
First year?
Because we can now bookend your entire two-stroke career, can't we? So it was something to 2008.
83.
Yeah.
something?
I think it's all about timing, because I think the fond two-stroke memories aren't really of like the original Scots or the MZ 125s and 175s and whatever else that people hacked around to work on. The time at which people started getting really misty-eyed and fuzzy-tummied about two-strokes was when they started getting performance.
Yeah.
It was when you had Degner and Carden who turned up and used their Nazi technology to turn them into fast things. When the 1970s came round and you had fizzies, and then by the end of the decade you had X7s, and in Grand Prix racing, four-strokes had given way to two-strokes, and then by the 80s, then you had the LCs and stuff. So the two-stroke era was really 70s, 80s, and 90s. And by the 2000s, they were pretty much done, weren't they? There were barely any you could ride, or buy, new. Even racing had kind of gone four-stroke by the early 2000s. So it's a moment in time. It's 30 years, really, where they were kind of kingpin. And if you started riding at any point in those 30 years, they hold huge emotional value to you, because that's when you were young and that's when you got on bikes and you had all of those moments and all of those experiences. And kind of, I guess the only thing that really kind of multiplies on top of that is that they were so focused on performance. They were so built around getting the maximum horsepower out of minimum capacity, a minimum size, a minimum weight. And so it's all about going fast.
True, there weren't many two-stroke tourers.
Here's our sensible all-round tourer. It was all about, you're 16, have the fastest thing you can have at 16. You're 17, have the fastest thing you can have at 17. And then even as you get into 250s, it's all about the most bang for your capacity buck, isn't it? And we're sort of at a point now where none of that matters. Like at 17, you can have a 125 and they're power limited, they're power to weight limited. On A2, they're power limited and power to weight limited. So the things that made two-stroke special then have no relevance today.
There is one thing that they did have. They were cheap to make.
There is that. Yep, there is that.
So that would be quite a compelling argument to make.
They were so cheap that by 2000, 2003, nobody was buying them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess it was you had to be there kind of thing, because I don't think that they are the right engine for motorcycling today, or probably for the next 10, 15, 20 years. So I think it's largely misty-eyed nostalgia for the past.
So you're not missing out on anything.
FECer John's disgusted at that answer.
It was just one tiny little loop thing. The first bike I had was a Fizzy. I bought it in 1974. And I insured through Bennett's, who are in Coventry, because I lived in Coventry. And I got, as a 16-year-old on a learner, fully comp on a Fizzy, £4.
Hey, what a bargain.
Thank you, Bennett's.
Round of applause for Bennett's.
That's a round of applause, but also for your memory, because not only did you remember the price of a Fireblade in whenever it was, but it's also your first insurance bill.
Oh, yeah.
You imagine absolutely. You got a year's free bike social membership for that as well.
Excellent. Good. Right.
And that's the end of that. Everything lived happily ever after.
I think Richard's got some questions.
Richard!
So, after a really fantastic tour, we've got to say that.
Thank you.
We've all been on a whole bunch of different bikes and a whole wide range of different things. But if you had to pick, out of all the modern motorcycles designed to do this, sports tourers, whatever it is, pick one that you really wouldn't want to do this on.
Oh, wow. Welcome to the alienate your audience section of the show. A bike that's built to do it that you wouldn't want to do it on.
Or are there no bad bikes anymore?
Oh, there's always bad bikes.
It's got to be a new bike. It can't be a used bike.
Yeah.
It's got current production.
Yeah, you can't choose my Cross Runner.
Bike that's built now to do this. See, I was thinking in terms of like, what bike would I not want to do it on? The first thought, and it's not very kind, but my first thought was a Harley, right? Harley makes some nice tourers, and they have big luggage, and they're fun in their own way. And I think there are some roads that they would be really quite entertaining on. But for everything, wrestling a full dress Harley up and down the Bielachna bar, I can imagine that might be troublesome.
Yeah, do you know what would annoy me about a Harley? Would be the constant stopping and starting on the passing lanes. Just waiting for stuff to come the other way. That would be annoying because they're really hard to balance at low speed. Like as in walking pace.
Oh,
'Cause
you
as
just
soon as
mean
you
not
drop your feet-
that they're that long,
Yeah.
that they fill an entire
There is
passing
that as well.
place.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good shout. Yeah, okay. But I could see myself on some of these wider roads on a Harley. That
Yeah. I think some of the
that
big
would be
sweeping
okay.
A roads would be good fun, but not some of the fiddly stuff.
I think a bike that would really annoy me that is supposed to do this kind of thing would be a Moto Guzzi Stelvio. I think because it's striving for a level of perfection. Because there are an awful lot of bikes that do that job really well, like Africa Twin Adventure Sports and obviously the GSs and all that kind of stuff. And the Stelvio falls short in low little areas that are just really kind of like. They didn't fix that bit, like the clocks are too far away and they're too small and you can't see them properly. It's got that ridiculous, I think it's a rear-facing radar, isn't it? Yeah, and bleeps at you and it sounds like there's a squeaky disc or something. It's horrible. Yeah, so overall, and it wasn't massively comfortable either. It was kind of a bit awkward. So I think that's probably, but I'm really struggling because I can't really, if you actually presented me with one and said, that's all you've got, I'd be like, well, okay, fine.
All right, let's play a game.
put
What if I offered you Moto Guzzi Stelvio or Honda NC 750 DC2?
Yeah, I knew you were going to say something like that. I did think about that bike, but I think that doesn't count as a bike that's designed to do this kind of thing.
Ooh, okay.
Really?
All right.
Yeah. I think it's
Fair
more...
enough.
Half a car. Yeah.
It's half a jazz.
Yeah.
A ja or a zzz.
Anything
Or a
else?
zzz.
What about a second-hand bike? Is there anything... can you think of a bike that you've ridden? I would want to do it on an early FJR. Maybe you've got an FJR, have they?
No, not here. No. Carl sold his in the last group.
Good. Big bus of a thing, heavy steering,
Yeah.
heavy throttle.
Actually, do you know what? Almost any of those big purpose-built Tourers, be it an FJR 1300 or a K1300 GT or a Pan or a Goldwing.
What? Yeah, wing would be a bit of a pain. A Blackbird. I think that'd be all right.
You'd have your moments.
Yeah, I think Blackbird would be good. Yeah, a bit of an engine on it, get a bit of a stonk on, that'd be good. What's really thirsty? Like insanely... that would
multi?
annoy me. Yeah, multi. Just a standard... The Grand Tourer.
Suzuki Katana with like a 4-litre fuel tank or whatever it's got.
Yeah, that would
be pushing it downhill to get to the next fuel station. Yeah, there's not many though. It is a good question because it does make you think like what that's supposed to do this. Because there's loads of bikes you could pick that would be a bit hopeless at doing this kind of stuff. Like, do you know? I wouldn't want to be here. I can't believe I'm saying it. I wouldn't want to be here on an SV650. I feel a bit sick. No, I wouldn't. I think why? It has not very much wind protection. It has not very much luggage. It has not very many sort of riding luxuries like cruise control and heated grips and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, but you can fit all that.
You could fit some of it.
I'm sure I've seen one. We've seen one, haven't we, on the road?
I don't think there's ever been an SV650 on a FECtor either.
In Scotland?
Yeah, in Scotland, ever.
I thought you were going to say electric bike.
I would love to be here on an electric bike.
Why did I do that?
Yeah.
Why did I do that?
Yeah.
Even I have noticed how many charging points there are.
There's lots.
There's lots, isn't
But
there?
there's only one of them in every place. So the idea of... Well, I mean, I suppose there'd
Yeah, but
only
nobody
be
else
one
is-
electric bike.
No one's fucking stupid enough to come up here on one.
Not yet. Not yet.
There
But
must be
someone
like-
might be stupid enough.
FECelec? Is that what was it? FECelec?
Eclectic.
Eclectic 500. Yeah.
What about you, Rich? What's your worst bike that you can imagine being up here on?
I think you had it with a Harley, actually.
Really?
Yeah, just some big, long, fat, bouncy, yeah.
Steady. How are you going to finish that sentence?
Did you have another question as well? You had something else you were going to ask about...
Yeah, just the other thing that came to mind, and you may not have enough time, I don't know, but the attitude to risk that we've got. So we're having a good chat amongst us about various different things and what the attitude to risk was and so on, and everything from wearing the Dainese airbag jacket and that sort of thing, right the way through to just what level of kit you wear and what affects it and so on. So just interested in your thoughts, what influences your attitude to risk?
I think the funny thing about risk is nobody thinks that they take risks. Right? I mean, if anyone put their hand up and said they thought they rode riskily today, No, everyone. Oh, Claire thought she was being risky. Well done, Jerry. Yeah, risk is one of those things that you think affects other people, right? Or you think affects your younger self. Because I think I used to ride riskily. I don't think I ride riskily now. But I think lots of other people would look at what I do and think it's a bit risky.
Right. Okay, so you're using riskily as a kind of a single point rather than I'm thinking of risk as a spectrum.
Oh, okay.
There's a kind of a very low risk and there's a very high risk and there's somewhere in between. So I think we all ride with a certain amount of risk because that's part of the reason why it's good fun, isn't it? It's like, dicing with it a bit. But we all have a different interpretation of what that level of risk is. And it occurred to me, I've spent these sort of past few days riding around with no body armour, no back protector, a helmet that's been dropped a few times.
A jacket from 1991.
Jacket from 1990, well, maybe 93.
Oh, sorry.
It's definitely a 30-year-old jacket. Importantly,
some knackered old trainers.
Yeah, jeans, denim jeans, not any protection. Yeah. And I did have a heated jacket on. Does that count? So very, yeah. Absolutely.
But the good thing is, nothing has ever happened in history that could possibly lead you to imagine that there might be need for protective kit on a FEC
Now, it's funny you say that, because on that FEC I was wearing short armoured boots, and it broke my ankle. And if I'd been wearing, because my leg was twisted, and I think if I was wearing my full-length motocross boots,
I can see where you're going.
I think it would have been my knee that got done in.
Right.
So I think the break would have been further up my leg and would have been worse.
Conclusive proof, ladies and gentlemen.
Go. So that's why protective gear is bad for you.
Did you... serious question about risk. There is a theory about risk compensation, which is that, for example, if you put a spike in a steering wheel instead of an airbag, it would change the way you drive. And so you, in total, end up having fewer accidents because you take less or fewer risks, or you behave less riskily on your riskometer. Do you think so when you're wearing your 1991, 1993 jacket and your no body armour and your anything? Does it change the way you ride?
There is a possibility that if I had more kit on, I would probably... I don't know. There is a possibility I'd take more risk in my risk spectrum. But I don't think that would... I don't think that would be the case.
There was a feature many, many moons ago in Bike magazine, going back 20 plus years, where they studied that risk compensation by asking riders to firstly ride around a certain test route on a certain bike, wearing like full one-piece leathers and back protectors and armour and everything and the full gear. And they timed them. It wasn't like a race, but it was ride around at the pace you'd be happy at and we'll time you. And then they said, ride around just in like a jacket and normal jeans and we'll time you. And then it was ride around just in T-shirt and shorts. Mm-hmm. And then it was ride around in your pants. Crash helmet, pants, and nothing else. And they timed them, and I think they data logged them as well to see what speeds they would do. Now, most people, if I said get on a motorbike in crash helmet and pants, would probably not get above about 10, 15 miles an hour. Mm. This scientific study found people going way over the speed limit in their pants. It showed that risk compensation did exist, but not as much as you think it does. So this is the theme for next year's FEC Tour, which is going to be FEC in your pants.
FEC in your pants. I like it. I like it.
I'll give you one counterpoint to that, and I don't remember the exact details, but I remember reading about an experiment that they did, I think it was in Holland, where they took a piece of road that had been segregated, and they removed all the signs, they removed all the road furniture, and they put the cars, the pedestrians, the cyclists, the motorbike, all in the same lane. And they discovered that the accident rate plunged.
Really?
Yeah, because people started looking out for each other a bit more because they...
It's almost... it's probably... Is it the same principle as taking out traffic lights on roundabouts and finding that all the traffic jams disappear because people start giving way and behave and letting other people in and being polite and might be the similar sort of principle?
Well, I think you just put your brain back in, right?
Yeah.
You have to look now, otherwise you're going to run somebody over. There's no excuse. So.
Yeah. I was saying earlier, there's this sort of cognitive dissonance that bikers have to have because we all know that it's going to happen to us and we all think that it won't anymore, again. And it's how we balance those two things in our heads. And racers do it. The TT riders do it. Because they know absolutely certainly that they've lost friends and colleagues, but it won't happen to them. They have to think that when they go out.
Absolutely.
And we have a bit of that, I think. We all have a bit of that when we ride on the road, don't we? And that's why bikers have gallows humour. Because it's dealing with that reality. So I think anybody who rides thinking it'll never happen to me, ever, ever, never, is probably going to be taking too much risk. It's the bad attitude to have. I think it's an optimistic pessimism or a pessimistic optimism. But do you know what I mean? There's an acknowledgement of what you're doing.
That it could happen. Yeah. That it might happen.
It might happen.
But you're also very confident that it will never happen.
Yes.
Makes perfect sense.
Absolutely. My brain is just wired to think like that, so I think that's probably why. Good. Any other questions?
Any final... Oh, we've got a couple more. We've got a couple more. Are you going to go for one,
Sorry,
Jack?
Jerry and Jack.
I have a comment and a question.
Please.
Your jacket's from 93?
I think so.
I'm from 92, just letting you know.
So you probably offer more safety protection. If someone was to wear
if I were wearing you...
I'm very aware of risks. I couldn't think of a question. So in 2025, when you can't think of how to do something, how do you solve that problem?
You chat GPT it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Please.
That's what BMW did with all their press kit.
Have you done that while we've been sitting here?
No, I did it earlier.
Oh, right.
Brilliant.
So you can pick between 1 and 4, and I'll ask you a question.
3.
Okay. The wrong tool for the job challenge. So, Desert Island Dilemma, you've got perfect twisty roads and amazing off-road trails, but you're only allowed one outrageously unsuitable motorbike for tackling both. What's your hilariously wrong pick? How would you even attempt it? And my twist is, I want you to stitch each other up.
Simon, I will give you Kawasaki Z7 Hybrid. Not because it's a bad bike, if Kawasaki are listening, but because I know, Simon, it is the antithesis of everything you represent.
It is.
Especially off-road on that with no clutch.
Oh, what would I get for you?
Be nice and quiet, you can hear the birds. It'd be lovely.
Yeah. You could also hear them going, fucking, motherfucker.
What would I give to you? I mean...
The thing is, Si, I'm such a versatile and talented rider. There's nothing I couldn't make work.
I'm trying to think of the last thing where you absolutely loathed it and you were spitting feathers about it. And I can't... What was the last bike you really hated? You don't. You're so even-handed. You're so professional.
So tediously centrist, Dad, yeah.
God, I don't know.
What were the two things? For doing off-road and doing twisty roads?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was thinking
some sort of really spiky, aggressive M1000 RR or something, or some
Bingo.
Yeah,
Bingo.
something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Just because, I mean, I know it sounds like it would suit the twisty roads, but you'd be fuming inside. And then obviously off-road would be really good fun to watch you wrestling one of those things around.
And yet the irony is, if we swapped and you had the big angry sports bike and I had the sensible little commuter, I think we'd actually probably get on all right.
We'd be really happy about it, yeah. That would suit us perfectly.
Yeah. That's good. Well, thank you, ChatGPT.
Yeah, thank you, ChatGPT, for a question that had too many variables for me to actually get my head around.
Can I ask you one more quick one?
Yeah, go for it.
Is that the question?
No. 2 more quick ones. Right. This is my favourite ChatGPT question. If a white van man was a motorcycle, what motorbike would a white van man be?
Oh, my God.
I think we've already mentioned it, haven't we?
White van man was a motorcycle. So not if a white van was a motorcycle.
Persona-wise, I guess.
But if a white van man. So it's kind of...
What's the cliche of a white van man's persona?
Oh, he reads tabloid newspapers and he has McDonald's wrappers and he drives around and he's a bit selfish and he's a bit rude. But, he's very functional and useful. And Britain wouldn't exist without him in his current format.
I'm still thinking sort of a white NC750X, I think.
What do you think?
Yeah, something like that.
Oh,
I thought be a bit louder than that.
I went K5 Gixxer.
K5 Gixxer? Why?
Angry and bullying everyone off the road.
Is that what they are, is it?
Backbone of Britain.
Yeah.
I guess I'll focus on the road.
What, Bimota V2A or something? That's about as angry as it gets.
Very good, yeah.
Jerry? Mate, this is the last one.
Finish this up, Jerry. Finish this on a high.
I'm ready for a pizza.
Okay, the two of you have got 36 hours to get to Gdansk and you've got to go together on one bike. What bike do you pick, and who's riding pillion?
Together. Well, I mean, Simon's definitely riding. There isn't a chance in hell that we get any further than this car park if I was riding and he was on the back. So I'm going on the back. I'm falling asleep out of some kind of reptilian response to fear and calamity. So the question is, what do I want to fall asleep on the back of while Simon's riding?
That would make sense, actually, because, because you were taking the back seat, you would choose the bike.
What? Sort of gentleman's choice.
Yeah.
What do I want to be on the back of where you're going absolutely bananas? I don't even know where Gdansk is. Where's Gdansk? How far is it?
It's in Poland.
Yeah, it's in Poland.
Okay, so how many miles does Simon have to do in 36 hours? Has he got to ride non-stop? Is he riding through the night, exhausted?
Why Gdansk?
Yeah, you've got to give him a reach around to fill up the...
Steady! We're not having a bike that runs on that.
Feed me a Mars bar.
Miles per gallon.
I don't know how far it is to Gdansk. It's probably
Why did you
over
choose
1,000
Gdansk?
miles. Because it's a long way away.
Yeah.
You've got to get there.
It's like
You've got to
constant.
hurry
There's a
along.
bit of tension. We'd be falling out.
Well,
You'd be falling out.
I just speed up till I can't hear you.
I would choose... I'd choose a Goldwing.
1,600 miles. That's how
I'd
far
choose a
you go.
Goldwing.
Would you?
Yeah.
Would you really?
Because they still got armchairs, they still got armrests.
Yeah.
And I could have some music on or something, probably.
So you could basically get as far away from me as possible, literally climbing off the back of the thing. Yeah.
What would you choose? What would you choose to try and get to Gdansk whilst I'm bungee tied on the back of it? Fucking shut up, Mufka, stop moaning.
I'd take an RT. No intercoms.
Yeah, obviously.
No. Yeah, I'd take an RT.
Right,
Yeah.
what, the new 1300?
Yeah.
Doesn't exist, does it?
Oh, yeah. It's just a computer generation.
1300 RT to Gdansk, fucking hell.
Yeah, you could do that.
What, over your adventure?
Your hands would be nice and warm.
They would. Good choice there, Jerry, yes.
That's a good point. It gets cold in Gdansk.
Not my hands. Not my hands.
Or your back. There you go. That's what I'd take. Yeah.
Any more for any more? Last orders. Any last questions before we go and eat some food? Or shall we just... Here we go. Carl.
Carl, come on, Carl.
Yeah, this came to me while you were talking, so
Oh, yeah.
hopefully I'll be able to structure it. Mufka was saying how joking that, do I have emotions? And
Sorry, he said that to you?
No, while he was talking.
Right, okay.
And the two of you have your roles, and Mufka tends to be the science man with the maths, and you go to him for those bits of the podcast. But he has hung on to an SV650, presumably for sentimental reasons. He also owns an Italian MV Augusta, and yet Simon, who's the crazy free spirit speed man, you often talk about bikes where you're searching for this kind of like perfect all-rounder, and I just wondered whether you had ever looked at that or
asked each other for advice.
Yeah,
he's rumbled
I
this.
suppose it's an observation rather than a question.
No, it's a good thought. Why do I have those bikes? They make absolutely perfect logical sense. That's why.
Exactly. I was going to say it's like the Matrix. You know when you see like a stream of noughts and ones. So even Mufka's emotions are dressed up as binary.
I have what you humans call love.
I can have emotions.
Yeah, do you know what? The SV was so I bought that at the time for very logical reasons. I'd had an RS50 two-stroke, an RS125 two-stroke, and then I was either going to get an SV650, a FECer 600, or a ZXR 400. And the SV was the lowest insurance group and was the most affordable. So I started off with purely tedious, logical, sensible reasons. And then, about 6 months after that, I got the job on Bike Magazine. And so the bike went from being the thing that I rode all the time, every day, to sitting in a garage, not really being used, while I was flouncing about on other people's test bikes and press bikes. And so it sat in a shed. And it sat in a shed for long enough that its value plummeted to the point where it's now basically not worth getting rid of. And so that's why I still have it. The MV is I don't really have a good answer for that. It's an awful bike. It's an awful thing.
But you were attempting to tick boxes with it, though, weren't you?
Yeah.
You were kind of like, right, it's going to do this, it's going to do that. So I think
it did come from a kernel of an idea.
Yeah. I think whether you approach things from an emotional point of view or a logical point of view, I think you still are looking for something. You're looking for the same thing. I think it's two different ways of approaching the same end point, which is a bike that does all the things you want it to do. And I think there's got to be some sort of emotion and passion in there somewhere, but there also has to be some logic in there. So I think, it's... And you could say that McHargreaves ended up buying with his heart.
I don't have one of those. Oh, surely we all buy bikes with a mixture of, passion and
exactly.
logic,
Well, that's
we?
the point. Yeah. So I think whenever your sort of predisposition, you end up at the same sort of place. I think we all probably do. And the place I think we'd like most to end up
is about 20 foot that way.
Is in the restaurant.
So we need to. You need to press a button that does the outro music.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah,
I
you
always
remember that
forget
one?
that bit.
Here
Yeah,
we go.
here it comes.
And we need to finish off by saying, of course, thank you very much to the Altgriech Inn first and foremost. Thank you very much to Paul at MCI Tours, who's done all the donkey work and isn't even here to enjoy the sunshine and
Papa
appreciate
Smurf,
it.
don't forget.
Papa Smurf. Thank you very much to you, Simon Hargreaves.
Thank you very much. What am I thanking you for?
We're just getting through all the other stuff. And then we're going to finish off by saying, and of course, thank you very much to each and every one of you wonderful FECers who put your faith in us that we'd come up with some interesting roads in Scotland and we'd provide the weather eventually. But it all came good, didn't it?
It did. It came good in the end.
Thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for being part of the FEC Fling Part 1. Thank you for being our guinea pigs. So we can take all of that feedback and make it even better for Fling 2. Oh, no, sorry, we're not supposed to say that, are we? But hopefully...
No, we're not, because we're going to merge them seamlessly in this podcast.
Oh, are we? Okay.
But if you'd all like to cheer about...
How long have we got?
Now... Keep it going!
That's great. Put that through ChatGPT and we'll end up with a decent podcast.